So today, the building the bag saga continues. A few weeks ago, we took a look at 7 of the straightest mid-ranges that you can find in disc golf, and we put those discs to battle, and one came out a champion. Today, we're gonna be doing the same, but we are upping the ante, both in terms of speed and number of discs. Because today we got 10, a whopping 10 discs, and each of these are straight to overstable fairway drivers. That's right, we're taking a look at T-Birds and all things T-Bird-like in today's episode. It's gonna be a lot of throwing. Hopefully I don't throw out my back. 10 discs enter the fray, but only one will win my heart and a spot in my bag in 2026. So first, let's take a look at our contenders. And up first, of course, we have the Innova Champion T-Bird, but Innova's not done yet because we also have the Champion Eagle and the Discraft ESP Athena, and one of my favorite discs from 2025, the Discraft Z Sagara. Here's a cool one. We got the DGA Spark Plastic Pipeline and the Prodigy 500 Plastic F1. And here's a unique one in the Thought Space Athletics Vodum in the, whatever plastic this is, the Aura Plastic. Very Gen Z of them. The Infinite Discs iBlend Centurion, the Discmania S-Line Horizon FD2, and of course, last but not least, rounding out our 10 is the MVP Neutron Volt. So today I'm gonna be throwing all these discs around the course, talking about what I like and don't like about each of them, and what I'm looking for in a Teebird-esque disc. Should be a good time, so let's hit the course. So what I'm looking for in this slot is a disc that will go straight for most of its flight, but still have that reliable fade at the very end. There's that T-Bird. This one's pretty beat in, so probably gonna have a bit milder fade than a typical new Champion T-Bird. Ooh, yeah, there's that Athena, nice laser beam straight, very similar though, got that fade at the end. And one of the main reasons why this slot is important to me and why I want to be bagging it in 2026 is because it's a disc that is straight kind of regardless of how hard you throw it, or a more understable disc, if you throw it hard, is going to turn over. A disc that I'm looking for in this T-Bird style slot is something that even when I throw it hard, I don't see much turn. There's that pipeline. Ooh, it's got some flip up. That's a bit straighter than T-Bird and Athena that I just threw. That stayed in the air a while. That's got some nice glide. And because I'm someone who throws on a little bit of hyzer, typically, I usually like having slightly more understable discs for my straight shot, but it's really important for me to have something that I know isn't going to flip up. You know, if I'm like at a tournament or there's some kind of high pressure round, I got the adrenaline pumping, a lot of times I'll go for a slightly more overstable disc than I normally would because I know I'm a little more prone to turning it over, throwing it a little bit harder than I intend. And because of that, having something that has that overstability while still being a straight disc is kind of like a safety valve for me. A lot of safe, predictable shots with a T-Bird style disc, without having that like really aggressive fade that a Firebird style disc would have. I threw that one on a lot more hyzer than those other throws. Because I'm definitely not looking for a Firebird where it's just gonna be low glide, a lot of overstability. I still want something that's gonna be pushing throughout the flight, plenty of glide. That Centurion, that was a nice shot. I threw that one flatter than I had some of the other shots, but you see all that glide. Centurion, the iBlend plastic, beats in pretty quick, a little more understable than your typical plastic like S-Blend. Yeah, the FD2 I knew was gonna be beefy. That's an overstable one. It's interesting because all these discs have really similar numbers, but having thrown most of these in the past, I know we're gonna see a pretty big range, pretty big spectrum of stabilities today. There's that Eagle. That I know is also gonna be really overstable. Hit the early tree. Those Champion Eagles, the Eagle X, tend to be pretty darn overstable. A little more overstable than probably what I'm gonna be looking for today. Oh, yoinked that Vodum, but that really held straight. My first ever throw with the Vodum, kind of a shank, but had a nice flight despite the bad release there. That's probably what's fun about this kind of exercise is that I get to try a lot of discs I've never tried before. Yeah, F1, got some overstability there. Kick back in the fairway. So glide is a big part of the equation here. You know, a lot of low glide discs are low glide because they're really overstable. We want to find that perfect balance of plenty of glide so we can get good distance, but still a little bit of overstability. That volt is so overstable. That one, I feel like that volt is an outlier. I did a video on it a while back and it's just a beefcake of a volt. So it's gonna be a pretty delicate balance for me to find here between overstability and glide, because having a little bit of turn can be really helpful for just keeping a disc in the air, especially when I throw it on hyzer, which I often do. And I want to be able to use my disc for holes like this too. This is a tunnel shot, 265 foot, so not that long. I'd probably be throwing a mid here, but for the sake of today, we're throwing our fairways. But this hole being shorter is actually a great litmus test for the stability that we're looking for, because we have to power down our shot to not juice it past the basket. And if by powering down we see a lot of overstability, it's probably a little more overstable than what we're looking for. That iBlend Centurion has pretty much the turn that I'm describing, where it's probably the most understable of these discs actually, but it's still an overstable disc. But that hint to turn just keeps it in the air, gives it that glide, that push. Yeah, Sagara, okay. Coming back for us, that's gonna be nice too. Teebird, will it come back out of the anhyzer? It didn't give it enough height, but we still snuck up there. And of course, let me know what your favorite Teebird-esque disc is down below in the comments. Ooh, that Votum is really straight. Just a hint of fade at the end, skipping right under the basket. Redemption after our first Votum shot, which is a complete shank. There we go. Similarly, that Pipeline, very similar flight, not as overstable as I expected, just really straight. Little bit of overstability. That FD2, yeah, one of the beefier ones in our lineup today. I mean, it has a lot of great utility on the course, but probably a little bit closer to that Firebird slot than what I'm looking for here. Put that on a little bit of hyzer, and it held the hyzer the whole time. That's not a bad thing, that's okay. Yeah, that eagle is pretty dumpy. Put that one out high, but that was actually pretty good. We only really saw the stability at the very end of the flight. Again, that volt, oh, it's just so overstable. That is definitely in the baby Firebird category. Put that one out really low, but you still saw all that fight out, fade out at the end. Not all volts. Again, not all volts, but that volt is freaking beef city. All right, now this hole gives us some wide open spaces, so we can really see how these guys fly out in the open here. No trees to hinder us. I will say I'm nursing a back injury right now, so I'm not really juicing anything today. I'm just trying to keep it smooth. Yeah, that Votum is really impressing me. It's just kind of holding. I threw that low. I've been throwing everything low today, but you can see fought out a little bit at the end. Had to put that eagle out to the right because I knew we'd see the fade back. Oh yeah, that's got such strong fade. Also, for these more overstable ones, I have to put them out right because to the left, there's a river. So if you're too overstable, you might just be eliminated via river today. That's a possibility. T-Bird's just holding. I think because it's more beat up. Put that one on a lot of anhyzer, expecting it to be more overstable, but didn't fight out, just held, which actually is pretty nice. That's kind of what I'm looking for here. Anhyzer holding the anhyzer. That's a good sign. Yeah, Athena's got quite a bit of overstability at the end. It's kind of been surprising me. Always fights back at the end of even an anhyzer release like that. Okay, kind of put it up in the air. It's actually pretty similar to the Athena, just a tick less overstable. Yeah, that volt, oh my gosh. So overstable. Yeah, that Centurion, even when I put it up high like that, just kind of drifts to the right, a little bit of fade. That Centurion, ooh, dog, that's a nice one. Hold, 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 coming out, yeah. FD2 holding, aggressive fade at the end, skipping as well. And the Pipeline just holds. Pipeline really does not have a whole lot of overstability, just a little bit, more of a holding disc. So before we go any further, we're gonna cull the pack here. We're ditching 5 of these discs that I already know are not gonna make the cut. And just so you know, I've thrown these discs more than just the 3 times that you've seen so far today, because this would be a very hard decision based off of just 3 throws apiece. So here's the 5 getting cut. Number 1, sadly, Neutron Volt. Great disc. Like, I have talked up and down about how much I love the Volt. I've done videos on the Volt. It's a fantastic disc, but this specific Volt, which is super domey and super overstable, is just not the right fit for this slot. I could see myself bagging this disc, but it would be more in that like Thunderbird style slot, like more overstable than what I'm looking for here. Number 2, also in the 2 overstable category, is this Champion Eagle. Again, very domey. It might just be something with these really domey discs being more overstable, but you got the overstability. Plus, I actually don't love the hand feel of the Eagle X. It has a deeper hand feel than a lot of the discs that we're looking at today. But when you got 10 discs to choose from, we got to start splitting hairs here and really getting down nitty gritty. What do I like? What do I don't like? And next one is the Discmania FD2. Again, I've done a video on this disc. I like it, but it's pretty overstable. This is the baby Firebird that I don't want. And the Athena, this one is more agreeable. I like it a lot. I just like 5 others more than I like this one. And finally, the F1, stability-wise, actually it pretty much fits what I want. The F1 is not as overstable as you might think it would be, being a 1 Prodigy disc. Usually the 1s are the most overstable, but it's really not that overstable. It's more straight. But the flashing, it kills it for me. This is an old school Prodigy disc, you know, before they kind of figured out more of the flashing issues that they used to have. And this one, you know, I mean, I could spend a day rubbing it all over the concrete pads out here, but I don't really want to do that. All right, and then there were 5. We are going to tackle this hole, which usually I go understable here, but I think we can do a subtle flex line with these discs, and we're not really trying to get to the basket, which is more to the right. We're just going to try to get these to go mostly straight with a little bit of fade at the end. Okay, looking good. Yeah, Centurion has a lot of glide. You can throw this gently and still get really respectable distance. And the pipeline is just so straight. Just a little bit of hookup at the end. A little bit more overstable, but it's really straight. But a little bit more overstable than Centurion Pipeline. That's not a bad thing, because Centurion Pipeline are definitely the least overstable of the bunch. Votum holds the line so much. Reminds me a lot of that beat up Teebird actually, where just a little bit of overstability, but holds. I'll put that out too far right. Ah, sneaking through. I think that hit something, but hey, it's okay. So if any of these 10 discs interest you, you can use my affiliate link in the description below to get 10% off your entire order at this channel's sponsor, Disc Golf Deals USA. It's a legitimate great deal, and it really helps the channel, so I'd appreciate if you use that link below. 10% off your entire order, no matter what you get. These 5 discs that are still remaining, I really feel great about each one of them. Any of them could be in my bag, and I would be really successful with them, I feel like, and really enjoy it. And ultimately, enjoyment is, you know, the final goal of 99% of disc golfers, so that's a good thing for all these 5. Again, these 5, well, great. I really know these are not the 5, and there's a very stark difference between the 5 I've cut and the 5 that I am keeping. Anyways, let's talk about the last 5. It's just splitting hairs, deciding between what I want in my bag for this year. Dang, this is a hard decision. Well, I'm going to tell you the 2 that I'm not going with for sure. Sagara, Votum. Again, great discs. I really don't have anything bad to say about them. I'm having a hard time even figuring out why these are not the 2. Sometimes you just know. You just, like these, the other 3 I know. These 2, I like them, but they're not these 3. Which I will say, Teebird, you know, this one gets kind of a unique boost of being a beat up disc. Because an overstable disc that's really worn in, that's a really special thing. Because you can get those straight shots while still being really torque resistant. Dang, oh, I like all of these. What the frick? The pipeline is so straight. Tons of glide. I can say the same thing about the Centurion. The hand feel, it's similar between all of them. This is legitimately really hard. I don't know. Okay, it's not gonna be the Centurion, even though I really like that Centurion. I almost feel bad in back-to-back building the bag episodes choosing the same brand. Okay, I think I have to go. I don't have to, but I'm choosing to go with the old classic Teebird. Gosh, I'm going to be banging a lot of Innova this year, aren't I? But just the fact that you get the straight flight, you get the overstable finish, you can throw it as hard as you want, it's not going to turn over on you. I'm going with the Teebird. I also like how these come in so many different plastic options. Like, that's always going to be an advantage to Innova over a lot of these smaller companies. But yeah, Teebird. I'm excited. I'm excited to throw this Teebird. I want to get this in some more plastics too and test out a bunch of different plastics of Teebirds. But man, that was a really tough choice. Like, so many great discs that we tried today. Again, let me know what your favorite slightly overstable fairway driver is down below in the comments. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate if you consider liking and subscribing. That'd be awesome. We are almost at 4,000 subscribers, which is freaking awesome. So if you haven't joined the Flying Fajita family yet, please do so. You can also follow me on UDisc community at Flying Fajita or Instagram at Flying Fajita Disc Golf. As always, guys, I love you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.